The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello and welcome to the Box Score Breakdown Show, a Hoop Ball presentation. This episode is brought to you by Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company. Get some delicious coffee, taste the Kona difference. Head over to hawaiianisles.com and Amazon. My name is Adrian Benjamins, and I'm joined by the great Coach Joe Sarvati. Coach, how are you doing, sir?
Yo, Adrian, how are you, man? I don't know about the great part, but I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm doing well, man. It's always good. Mondays are always fun because I know I get to do the box score breakdown with my man AB, so I'm loving it.
And we have got a big slate of games here. Coach, I don't even want to waste any time, man. I think we should just dive right into it so we keep this show at a reasonable minute mark, or I should say hour mark, because I guarantee you we're going to go over the hour mark on this one. Are you ready to dive into this?
I am ready, man, no doubt.
All right, let's start with what I think was the first game of the night, the Cleveland Cavaliers taking on the New York Knicks. This one was kind of a surprise. The Knicks getting the victory 123 to 105. I'm going to take a look at the Cleveland side of this game first. Going to start with a rookie that played really good, Kevin Porter. 18 points, a steal, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. 3 of 6 from downtown, 6 of 11 from the field, 3 of 8 from the line. You know, the Cavs have some injuries right now with Kevin Love out, Larry Nance out. Kevin Porter could be worth a little short-term play here. So it's a pretty nice game for him. Darius Garland, 10 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 threes on 4-9 shooting. You know, he really hasn't had that blow-up game yet, Coach. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not going to happen till the second half of the season. Maybe it doesn't happen at all. I don't know. He's been a little underwhelming, but I still love him for dynasty leagues and even maybe for the second half of the season. Colin Sexton has been pretty good scoring the ball. Only shot 5 of 13 tonight for 14 points, 1 assist, 3 rebounds, 1 3. But he's been pretty good, especially on the points side. Tristan Thompson, this one was a little disappointing, Coach. I thought Tristan Thompson was going to feast with no Love, no Nance. I thought he'd be a real popular DFS play, too, tonight. But only 9 points, took 6 shots in this game. So,
crazy.
A little surprising. 2 assists, 5 boards. 3 of 6 shooting for him. Cedi Osman, man, this guy has just been, I've just seen him on the wire in like almost every single one of my leagues. It just not happened for him. Only 5 points. Off the bench, they got a nice game from McKinney, 4 points, 6 boards, 3 threes. Jordan Clarkson's a guy you could probably count on who comes off the bench. 13 points, 4 assists for him. 3 threes as well for Clarkson, so it's a pretty good game from him. Other than that, I don't really trust anyone. Brandon Knight had 12 points, but in just 12 minutes, most nights he's not going to do that. Coach, what do you think of the Cleveland Cavaliers?
I think they're terrible. I think they are just in such a rebuild mode. It's not even funny, and they've got a bunch of guards with potential, with Porter and Garland and Sexton and some of those guys. So, I mean, it's going to be a long year for them. But, I think they just need to get rid of Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson if they can and try to get draft picks and young guys and just completely start over. Because, from a fantasy standpoint, year-long league-wise, and even in the DFS side, they're just an awful team up and down. You can't count on any of these guys on a given night, really.
Such a bummer, man. Such a fantasy wasteland. Coach, I hate teams like that. That
Yeah.
there's just like not much you could turn to for fantasy. I
No.
mean, who is their best guy and like what is his ranking? I mean, is their best guy like I mean, I guess Kevin Love when he's
Well,
healthy.
Kevin Love is
Yeah.
still decent. It's just that he misses a lot.
Hmm.
So, but after that,
It's very
it's
ugly.
bad. It's bad. Yeah.
All right, let's jump over to the New York Knicks side of this game. Nice to see Julius Randle come alive. He's been pretty disappointing. And, coming into the year, he was the guy I thought most likely out of on this whole roster who would really be a good fantasy asset. So nice to see him have a good game. 30 points, 2 steals, 1 block, 4 assists, 7 rebounds, 3 threes on a very efficient 12 of 17 shooting from the field, 3 of 5
Yeah.
from the line. Another guy who's been off and on but has had some good games as well is um, Marcus Morris. 23 points, 2 blocks, a steal, an assist, 6 rebounds, 1 3. How's this? 12 of 13 from the line for Morris. That's
Yeah.
pretty nice. 5 of 13 from the field. Ntilikina did not have a great game. 6.6 assists, but I'm still encouraged that he's starting and, he got 29 minutes. I think he's going to be better than this on most nights. And I think in some deeper leagues like 12 teams or deeper, he's definitely worth a roster spot. RJ Barrett with 15 points. Love the defensive stats from RJ. 2 steals, 2 blocks, 1 assist, 2 rebounds. Shot 5 of 13, 1 3 tonight, 4 of 5 from the line. Other than that, I really wanted to see Mitchell Robinson, see what he would do. Definitely looks like had some foul trouble here. 5 fouls in just
What a
17
shot.
minutes. Yeah, so yeah. So but I'm really hoping we see him emerge soon as a reliable fantasy asset. I know he's drafted really high in a lot of leagues. And then, Coach, we talked about how ugly the Cavs are. Knicks, another one of these teams that's kind of ugly. What do you think of them, Coach?
Yeah. They're a dumpster fire. I mean, everybody sort of knew it going in, and now there's rumors of Fizdale getting fired. Although they won this game, so I guess he lives to coach another day. But they're an awful team fantasy wise too. I mean, they really are. Julius Randle certainly is worth some value in both year long and DFS. I knew tonight he'd have a big night because they started Porter and moved Jetty Osman to the 4. So when Jetty Osman trying to guard Julius Randle, that isn't going to work out too well for you. So, but after that, I mean, Morris will throw some good games in there, but he also throws duds in there. Plus, they just, we talked about it in the preseason. They signed 6 power forwards. It made no sense, and so they're all sort of, chopping on each other here. Knox. If you look at tonight's box score, you've got everybody with like 20 minutes, and how you just can't really get any dependable fantasy guys. With Portis, Knox, Mitchell Robinson, Barrett, Randall, Morris, all these guys that play the 3, 4, 5 kind of positions, all getting 18, 19, 16 minutes. Just it spells DFS disaster, and they are not a team you want to count on at all either.
I'm really happy that I going into draft day in all my drafts I avoided Knicks, and I'm pretty happy that I had that mindset. Okay, let's keep rolling here. Game 2 of the evening, the Indiana Pacers and the Brooklyn Nets. The Pacers getting the victory 115-86. Let's jump in on the Indiana side first. I'm going to start with TJ Warren, who feels like he's a pretty safe guy, especially to get some scoring out on the wing here. 19 points, a steal, an assist, 6 boards, 1 3. He was 6 of 17 from the field, 6 of 7 from the line. The Holiday brothers having a nice game together. This is kind of cool.
That?
Yeah. I guess I'll start with Aaron Holiday first. 24 points, 13 assists, 6 rebounds. This is an outstanding game. 4 of 7 from downtown, 10 of 19 from the field. This is a great game. With Brogdon out, I don't think Brogdon's going to miss a lot of time, but
No.
maybe still a game or two. I think Aaron Holiday probably a nice play, at least in the short term. While Brogdon's out, Justin Holiday, 20 points. We know he can score the ball, 20 points, but 2 steals, 2 assists, 4 rebounds. That's some nice contribution here in some of these other stats. 4 threes tonight, a perfect 4 of 4 from the line. It's a nice game from him. And coach, he's had a couple of good games. I think last week he had a game or two. Might be worth a look in some deep leagues. I think in your standard leagues, I don't know if I trust him, but I'm going to keep an eye on him. Miles Turner, nice to see him back, but a little underwhelming here. 9 points, 3 blocks is nice. 1 assist, 7 rebounds. Only shot 4 of 11 from the field, 1 3. And the guy who's just been dominating this front court is Sabonis. Coach, I feel like every night I look at Sabonis, he just is like automatic for a double-double every night. 16 points.
Big double-double.
Big double-double. 16 points, 18 rebounds, flirting with the 20-20 here. And I love that he gave you 2 blocks, 3 assists, shot 7 of 16. He's having a pretty good year. I think he's locked and loaded too for the rest of the season. Not too much to talk about off the bench. I don't really trust this guy. McDermott could get hot every once in a while. Tonight, only 7 points in 27 minutes. Not much else here. Coach, what do you think of the Pacers?
Well, I would not recommend anybody going out and grabbing Justin Holiday because he's going to be strictly a 12, 13, 15 minutes off the bench kind of guy very soon because Malcolm Brogdon will be back probably in the next game from what I read, which means it'll bump Aaron Holiday over to the 2 because Jeremy Lamb is still out for a couple more games. But then when Lamb comes back, then you've really got a log jam because you've got Brogdon and Lamb with Aaron Holiday now trying to just get minutes off the bench, which really stinks because, for the owners that have him, he can play, but he's not going to continue to get 30 minutes a game. And that's just going to shuffle everybody else like Justin Holiday down the chart. So, I wouldn't overreact to some of these because a lot of it has to do with injuries. What I will say, though, is, in my opinion, now that Miles Turner's back, if you can pedal him, I'd pedal him. I just don't think Miles Turner is worth anywhere near where people drafted him. And I think if you can still, float him out there and get something good for him, I would move him because Sabonis, even though they're playing next to each other in the 4-5, I've watched multiple games now, and Sabonis just owns the glass. Turner doesn't even try to get in his way anymore. It's like, the ball goes up, they're both right around it. It's just like Sabonis is going to go for it. And he's just playing with such more confidence and so much better. I think he's your guy that you got to focus on. So if you've got him, you got to be loving it. We talked about it. We both were supporters of his, moving to the 4 and being a stud this year, where everybody else said it was going to be a disaster. But he's doing great. So, and TJ Warren's consistent. If you got him, I've got him in one league, and he's just a nice, steady ball player and has some big games. And when he doesn't have a big game, he's usually still, at least contributing. So, they're not a bad squad. When they have everybody healthy, and when they get back Oladipo, good Lord, they're really going to be tough then.
Good call.
And then what does that do to those guys we were just talking about shuffling down the chart? I mean, Aaron Holiday might find himself in a position where he's not hardly getting any minutes when you got Lamb and Oladipo and Brogdon in there,
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I mean, it just when Victor Oladipo comes back to full strength, and Brogdon was playing amazing.
Oh,
I mean, Coach,
fantastic.
he was like flirting with first round value before he
Oh
got
yeah.
hurt. He was spectacular. So I agree with you. It just pushes Aaron Holiday out. Jeremy Lamb's going to take a big hit. Thank you for mentioning Jeremy Lamb too. By the way, I forgot to mention him at the beginning of that, because definitely a lot of these guys who went off tonight are seeing a boost, not just because Brogdon is out, but also because Lamb. Coach, I love your take on Sabonis. I got turned off of Miles Turner coming in the draft, because when we found out in the offseason that Sabonis was slated to start next to Turner, I was kind of scared that Sabonis is very aggressive, especially on the
Right.
boards. As you kind of mentioned, Turner's a little hesitant. He
Hmm.
kind of defers, and Sabonis is like, okay, I'll take this. And so
That's right.
we're definitely seeing it tonight. Is a prime example of a Sabonis stepping up, Miles Turner kind of taking a back seat.
Yeah, watch out for Indiana though. When they get healthy, they're in the East. They're going to be scrappy when it comes to playoff time. That's for sure.
Yes. Okay, let's jump over on the Brooklyn side of this game. With Kyrie Irving out, with Karis LeVert on the shelf for a while longer, quite a while longer, Spencer Dinwiddie is your guy that, man, 28 points, 8 assists, a steal, a block, 5 rebounds, 4 threes. The shooting was 9 of 21, but I think you'll be very happy with this line if you played Dinwiddie tonight. 6 of 7 from the line as well. So pretty good game. Coach, a little surprising though, nobody else really stepped up in this one. Temple had
Yeah.
an okay line, not really scoring. I mean, like 10 points is nice, but did also contribute with 2 blocks, 3 assists, 6 rebounds. This is a guy that could give you some low end lines with all the injuries. A guy in standard leagues, probably a guy you don't want to pick up. But coach, I'm in some 14 team leagues where we're with deep rosters where at the
Right.
end of your roster you're playing guys that are like barely starting. So a
Oh, I
guy like
know.
a guy like Temple could be very helpful in a league like that. Joe Harris, I still like Joe Harris this season, but nights like tonight, only 7 points, 2 rebounds. I I'm expecting more from Joe Harris, especially with the all of the injuries here. So hopefully he steps up. Tyrion Prince, only 7 points as well, 1 assist, 4 rebounds. Jared Allen with a double double, 10 points, 12 rebounds, one block for him. So just okay lines from all these other guys off the bench. No one I really trust. DeAndre Jordan, I would much rather have Jared Allen. I don't trust Shumpert. A guy that I think is interesting is Claxton, but I don't know if he's going to get the minutes to really be relevant. And tonight in 15 minutes only had 1 point and only took one shot. So
Yeah.
I don't think he's a guy you could just watch in very deep leagues. But Coach, what do you think of the Nets?
Yeah, well, this was just a throwaway game for them. They were terrible. They sort of got their doors blown in early on, and without Kyrie out there, that's spells disaster for them, and then losing LeVert as well. So yeah, I mean, they're going to have some games like this. There's no question this year, but when they get Kyrie, when Kyrie's playing at the level he's been playing, they're at least competitive. But I think we'll see a lot of this. They're not going to be a lot of these guys. You're not really going to be able to depend on, for big leagues like I'm in a 20-man league as well. Guys like Prince and Harris, those guys are very important in leagues like that. But in the smaller, leagues, if you're in a 10-teamer or something, they're just, you know, there's not a lot of confidence in some of these Brooklyn guys right now, and I think that may be the pattern. It's all about next year for them. I mean, if they can get LeVert healthy and get Durant ready for next year and have all these younger guys with some experience and Kyrie leading the show, next year we're going to have a 100% different discussion than we are now about Brooklyn. That's for sure.
Yeah, Brooklyn could be really good next season. I am really excited to see them fully healthy because yeah, they could
Yeah.
be a great team. Good call. Okay, let's go to the next game, the Charlotte Hornets and the Toronto Raptors. This one was a blowout. The Raptors getting the big victory, 132-96. Yeah, let's take a look at the Charlotte Hornets side first. Coach, I drafted Miles Bridges in like every single league and been really disappointed. In fact, in my Roto league that has a games cap, I moved him to my bench because he had a goose egg the other night. Now, tonight I'm really regretting that I didn't play him tonight in that league because had a pretty decent game. 13 points on 5 of 10 shooting, gave you a steal and a block, 2 assists, 5 rebounds. This is more like it. He even gave you 2 threes. So let's hope that he can come around because he's been pretty disappointing, very, very disappointing. Terry, speaking of disappointment, Terry Rozier, a lot of guys expected him to just because they expected high volume. And so, to see 10 points tonight, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, it just feels really underwhelming from a lot of people thought he was being held back in Boston, and now that he was let loose, freed up in Charlotte, people were expecting him to go wild. So this is a little disappointing to see lines like this. But
that's been the norm for him.
Yeah,
this year. He really hasn't been good.
Kind of similar to the last game we were talking about. Hornets also getting their doors blown off here. So maybe it was just a rough night for a lot of these Hornets altogether. For example, Graham, who's been outstanding, only 11 points, 6 assists, 1 steal, 2 rebounds. This guy, I think so far has been like the waiver wire grab of the season so far.
Oh, no doubt.
He's been spectacular. And Coach, what a great find for this team just in general from a reality standpoint, right? I mean, unbelievable that you lose Kemba and you just find this guy who looks like he's just going to be a solid point guard for years to come. Yeah. So pretty nice. PJ Washington's a little disappointing here. Definitely looks like he ran into some foul trouble. 5 fouls in just 17 minutes, had 5 points, not much else. Cody Zeller, who's had some nice games just recently, only 8 points. Again, a lot of it's I guess don't look too heavy. Just kind of take this game with a grain of salt because of the blowout factor. On the bench, Batum looked good in the last one, coming back from injury. Only 3 points. Did have 4 assists, 6 rebounds. So keep an eye on Batum. He's available in a lot of leagues. Marvin Williams, man, it's nice to see him play well in this one. 14 points, 1 assist, 4 rebounds. I don't think we're really trusting Marv in regular leagues. Monk has had some nice games this past week. He only had 7 points. So a rough one. Biombo, 13 points with 2 blocks, 2 rebounds. I don't think we will trust him night from night, but he's prone to have some nights where he'll go off for a double-double with some high blocks. Coach, what do you think of the Hornets?
I'll tell you what, we have started off with some really garbage teams. Yeah. I'll tell you. I don't know who's between Cleveland and the Knicks and Charlotte, and I mean, there are just so many teams that are so bad. But I don't, they're awful. I don't want to roster any of these guys except for the guy that is the best player on this team, and it's Devontae Graham, hands down. Mm-hmm. Devontae Graham is the best player on this entire team. And what's amazing is all of us brilliant minds of NBA following everything, and the dude goes undrafted in most of these leagues. And he ends up 10 games into a season being the best player on a team. It's mind-boggling that a guy like that could slip through the cracks and not even be considered and drafted, and here he's the best guy on an NBA team. Nuts.
It is spectacular, and one of the reasons why this game is so fun, man, like that there's these diamonds.
You never know.
There are these diamonds in the rough like that, and when you find them, it's just, oh man, it's great stuff. All right, let's jump over on the Toronto side. Coach, you said it. We've been talking about some bad teams. Raptors, one of the most pleasant surprises for this season. A lot of people expected them to really fall off when Kawhi left, Danny Green's gone. They've looked really good. They've beat up on some really good teams. Siakam is just what a stud this guy is. I think, he was most improved player last year, and if I feel like he's getting even better. I mean, this is a guy that we're going to be drafting maybe at the end of the first round or the second half of the first round next year. 20 points, a steal, a block, 5 assists with 8 boards. 3 threes tonight, shot 7 of 14, a perfect 3-3 from the line. Van Vliet, the shooting wasn't there tonight, 3 of 12 for 11 points, but still gave you 4 steals, 8 assists, 4 rebounds, 3 of 4 from the line with 2 threes. So I don't think you're complaining too much. I've got Van Vliet in a couple leagues, and I've been I've been pretty happy about it. Marc Gasol has just really fallen off this season. I think we've really seen the decline of Gasol, and has had a spectacular career. Just a great center, but I think his time is passing. 5 points with 9. Hey, 9 assists is nice, but with 8 rebounds, 1 block. He only took 4 shots in 29 minutes, so the usage real low. A guy who's been a really great surprise this year, OG Anunoby, 24 points, 2 steals, 2 assists, 5 rebounds, 4 threes on 10 of 13 shooting. This guy even went in the third quarter. He went had an eye issue, but returned to the game, no problems. Keep him locked and loaded. He's been great. I picked up Norman Powell in a bunch of leagues, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. 17 points here tonight, 2 steals, 6 assists, 2 threes on 7 of 15 shooting. The assists are kind of a surprise, and had a 26-point night the other day. So I think he's going to be a pretty good stream while Lowry is out. Keep him locked and loaded. A guy who's been another pleasant surprise for them, Terrence Davis, in just 21 minutes had 16 points, 7 assists, 1 steal. Coach, they've got like a bunch of these athletic wing two-way type players like Anunoby, Terrence Davis. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Hollis Jefferson, I should probably throw into that group as well. 15 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. This team, reality-wise, this is a pretty good team. One more guy I want to mention, and it's Chris
Boucher.
Chris Boucher. And 11 points, 11 rebounds. I know he's gotten a lot of hype. There's a lot of excitement. But, did a lot of his work tonight in garbage time because of the blowout. I'm really worried, Coach, on most nights. It's just the minutes. If this guy was getting starter type minutes or even minutes in the low 20s, I think he would be a real solid fantasy option. But there's just some nights where he might only play 9 or 10 minutes and could really give you not a lot. So in standard leagues, I wouldn't look at him at all. And Coach, I might even move on from him in my 13-team Roto League, which is my home league. So I don't know. Coach, what are your thoughts on the Raptors?
Well, I mean, a couple of things. One, I didn't think they would be this good, to be honest with you, with all the moves that happened. But there's a couple things. You can never question the heart of a champion. Once you're the champ and you go out there with that swagger, teams have a tendency to rise up and play better, and that's what they're doing. Plus, Nick Nurse is a hell of a coach. I mean, he proved that last year, winning it with his first year with the team, and he's doing a great job again this year. I think Anunoby is right in the running for most improved player in the league. He's in the conversation with a handful of guys. I mean, he was known as a shutdown defender, and all of a sudden he's throwing all these 20-plus point games in there. So it's great to see him stepping up. Siakam will be in the All-Star game. Mark my words. Pascal Siakam is going to be an All-Star this year. And then Freddie Van Vliet is awesome. He's so good. I mean, the fact that they lost Lowry and Ibaka and haven't missed a beat and just keep winning is, really says a lot for these guys. I think, if you haven't picked up Norman Powell like you did, for other people, if he's still out there, grab him, because he's been the huge winner in Lowry going down. He's getting the big minutes and really contributing well. The other guys, if you're in big giant leagues like me with a 20 person league, I've been flirting with maybe grabbing a Terrence Davis or RHJ because, they're going to get mid-20s a lot of times. And they're, look at Hollis Jefferson, like you said tonight, even in 20 minutes, 15 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. Those are some good numbers. And I wouldn't quite give up on Chris Boucher yet, and I'll explain to you why. Because first of all, you've got Marc Gasol, who I'm with you. I think Marc Gasol is absolutely done. I mean, God bless him. He's been great for a long time. I think he gave everything he had left in the tank with Spain and FIBA this summer to win it, and I just think he's done. He just looks slow and just done out there. So that concerns me. They're going to have to give him some rest days. There's going to have to be some, shuffling of the Gasol usage. And then Ibaka should be back soon, but he's coming back from a fairly, tough leg injury. So that keeps them a little thin in the front line. And even though Boucher is a loose cannon and real young and just sort of real wiry out there, I mean, tonight's a perfect example. How the heck do you get 11 points and 11 rebounds in just 18 minutes? So he has crazy ups and skills. So if you can stash him with Gasol and Ibaka, the questionable status, I think that might be a guy that you can use. But the rest of these guys, man, dial them up. Anunoby, Siakam, Powell, Van Vliet, these guys are all going to be good mainstays in your lineup, no doubt.
Nice. And Coach, I think you just talked me into it. I'll keep Boucher on my roster a bit longer and see. I mean, if Gasol ever went down or if he was moved or whatnot, I mean,
they're going to rest him. There's no doubt. I mean,
definitely. And I would be heartbroken if Boucher was going off on somebody else's roster after I grabbed him. So, okay.
Don't give up on him yet.
Let's jump over to the next game. I feel like there's been a lot of blowouts here tonight. The Portland Trailblazers getting blown out by the Rockets, 132 to 108. The Rockets getting the victory. I'm going to take a look at the Portland side of this game first. CJ McCollum has been playing better. He's starting to come around. 25 points, 2 steals, 3 assists, 5 boards, 5 threes on 10 of 19 shooting. Damian Lillard, this one was a little disappointing for him. Had his hands full here tonight with Russell Westbrook. 13 points, 11 assists is nice, 6 rebounds. But the shooting, just not great. 4 of 15, 1 3. 4 of 4 from the line. Rodney Hood, who's been scoring the ball pretty decently tonight, was pretty disappointing. Only 2 of 8 for 5 points, 2 steals. Nasir Little's been getting the start, which is a little intriguing, except I think when Melo comes in the picture, which could be as soon as the next game, I think Little is going to fall off. I think maybe even Hood is going to take a hit as well. But Little in 29 minutes had 11 points, 1 steal, 2 assists, 7 rebounds. Whiteside with 11 points, 8 boards, 2 blocks, 1 steal. Love those defensive stats. 2 assists on 5 of 9 shooting.
Yeah.
Another guy who's pretty interesting is Anthony Simons with 10 points, 2 assists, 1 rebound. I really like this kid. I think, probably not this season, but maybe 2 seasons from now, or if they ever move on from CJ McCollum, I think that this kid is going to be really good one day. Bazemore, he was an interesting filler with some of these injuries, but again, with Melo on the horizon, I think he's going to take a hit. Had 11 points, 5 assists, 4 boards. LeBCA actually had a good game here. 15 points, 2 assists, 6 boards, 2 blocks. Pretty nice game in just 20 minutes. Shot 6 of 7 from the field, 3 of 4 from the line. This is a guy who's pretty interesting. Showed some upside when he was with the Kings, but unfortunately, I just don't think he's going to get a lot of run on this team. Hazonia, it's not happening for him, and that's all I got. What do you think of Portland?
Yeah, I mean they're playing terrible. I mean their record is bad. I mean I don't know. If people think Carmelo is just going to come in and plug in the starting lineup and play 30-some minutes and be a stud. I mean, the guy's been out for a long time. He's pretty much older, and I'd look at him more as a mid-20s kind of offensive guy. off the bench or limited starting minutes. But I don't know. Their team is shaky. I mean, if obviously Lillard and McCollum carry them, but after that, it's just between Hood and Lillard and Labissiere and Bazemore, Hazonia, all those guys are playing some minutes and just not real. Can't really count on them. I'm excited because I have Simons in my dynasty league, so
nice.
I'm just waiting on him because I would think in another year he's going to be a starter in this league somewhere, somehow. But I mean, they're not a team that interests me. After the Lillard McCollum thing, they'll keep tearing it up. But the other thing you got to start worrying about is if they are going to be this bad and keep losing. What are they, like 5-9 or 4 something? They're not good, and you wonder if they're going to start resting Lillard or McCollum here and there if they're playing that bad. Just something to keep an eye on down the road. But they're definitely not good. That's for sure. And then I wanted to mention on the Houston side, so I don't forget to mention it when we jump on that side, is I saw watching the League Pass thing, the Houston channel, they did a little special thing in between quarters talking about a little interview with Russell Westbrook, and they talked about his off season, and he said he recognized that his on the ball defense was one of his weaknesses. So he spent the entire summer working on his footwork, studying film, and his determination was to be a really good on the ball defender. And if you look at the defensive real plus minus, he's in the top 15 this year.
Wow.
This is a guy that was a really just average to, slightly below average on the ball defender who's now a pretty elite on the ball defender. And you saw him tonight. The reason, why that Lillard struggled was because Westbrook, checked him. And the reason why McCollum had a good game is because Harden checked him. That explains that.
Wow.
But something to keep an eye out, when Westbrook's defending your guy as far as, games coming up, setting lineups and in DFS and stuff. But just wanted to mention that because it's a big improvement from last year. And he happened to throw a triple-double on the board to boot. So
great segue into the Rockets, Coach. And, I got to watch a lot of this game. You could tell Westbrook was fired up for this one. When the Thunder got knocked out of the playoffs last year by the Trailblazers, a lot of people in the media were ragging on the Thunder. A lot of people saying, Lillard was responsible for not only knocking them out, but kind of breaking up the Thunder with Paul George. Right. So I think Westbrook was really almost like it felt almost like a revenge game for Westbrook.
He dominated Lillard. Yeah, he really did.
I mean, he was very aggressive in this one. When he would get the ball, he was just streaking to that rim, and he looked very motivated for this one. As you said, Coach, triple-double, 28 points, 2 steals, 1 block, 10 assists, 13 rebounds. NBA TV posted something during this game that Westbrook is number 2 overall all time for triple-doubles, ahead of Magic Johnson, just behind, I believe, Wilt Chamberlain. So
Oscar Robertson.
Yeah, pretty fantastic. I'm sorry, Oscar Robertson, not Wilt Chamberlain. So anyways, Westbrook looked good. Shooting 9 of 26 tonight, but he's prone to some bad shooting. Gave you 3 threes, 7 of 9 from the line. You're still really happy with that. And Coach, I mean, every time we're on, we talk about how amazing James Harden is, and just doing it again. 36 points, a steal, a block, 5 assists, 6 rebounds, 5 threes on 11 of 19 shooting from the field, 9 of 10 from the line. In that hoop ball staff league, I had the number 1 pick. I went Anthony Davis. If I could go back in time, I think I would go back and take James Harden. Clint Capella, 2020. Hello. 22 points with 20 boards and 4 blocks. Woo! What a game for
coming
Clint
off
Capella.
A couple games out too. That's what's amazing.
Looking good, man. outstanding. And, after a somewhat slow start, he looks like he's ready to roll. Coach, I thought about this today, and it made me chuckle. I have Daniel House in a bunch of leagues, and I have been missing this guy. And, it made me think only in fantasy basketball could you be super excited to get Daniel House back. like only fantasy basketball manager players know, like, have that feeling of being so excited to get Daniel House back, and didn't disappoint.
Crazy.
Never gonna pop off the page with big scoring lines, but I will take this line any day of the week. 11 points, 3 steals, 4 assists with 6 boards, 3 threes on 4 of 9 shooting. I'll take that. Pretty good game. Tucker can do this as well. He had 13 points, 1 block, 1 assist, 2 rebounds. 3 of 4 from downtown, 5 of 7. So a decent line from him. A nice 9 category line from him. Off the bench, not too much to talk about. Don't really trust, with the starters doing all the heavy lifting here, not much off the bench. Coach, what are your thoughts on the Rockets?
Yeah, if you have Harden and Westbrook, you just ride them into the sunset. And Capella as well. Capella's awesome. I think the waiver wire darling the last week of Ben McLemore, I think, was a big bust for those guys that picked him up. Not that I blame them, but yeah, I don't know how much Ben McLemore is going to maintain value. He's just not that good, really, in my opinion. But 1 of 8 today for 2 points at 26 minutes. And he had been starting there for a while when House and Capella and everybody were out. But somebody may want to, let back go again. I'm not sure how much value he's going to maintain. But, same old with Houston. You just, if you could fill in a few of those complimentary guys like House or Tucker, that's fine. But you're going to have your main horses there. Just continue to crush it. They're tough. They're a good team.
They look really good. Okay, let's keep it going here. Next game up, the Milwaukee Bucks and the Chicago Bulls. The Bucks getting the victory 115-101. I guess not much of a surprise. Bucks, one of the powerhouses of the East, against the Bulls, one of the worst teams in the East. So I guess let's start with Giannis Antetokounmpo. 33 points with 10 rebounds, 3 steals, 1 block, 2 assists. Even gave you 2 threes tonight, which is not a strong suit from him. 13 of 22 shooting. If I had to complain about anything, Coach, I'm more of a glass half full type guy, so I'll never complain about Giannis. But if I got a nitpick, 5 of 12 from the line, so hurt you from the line, and then 8, and then he had 8 turnovers tonight. So prone to do that at times. Coach, interesting fact, I found out earlier last week, Giannis has a younger brother named Alex Antetokounmpo, and people think that he has the potential to be just as good or even better than Giannis. I thought that was, how many Antetokounmpos are there?
There's 4 of them, and this younger one, the other 2 are not very good, but the younger one is supposed to be the closest to Giannis as far as potential. Yeah, my son's been talking about him for a long time. He follows him on Instagram and all that stuff. Wow. And that kid, it's going to be interesting to see, how he develops but yeah, I've heard good things about him. Yeah, Giannis is a stud. There's no doubt about it. But, the 3-point shooting, 2 for 6 again tonight, he just is not a good 3-point shooter. No. And, odd to see him struggle so much at the line. Certainly no excuse for all the turnovers, though. That's something that would bother me too. But because he doesn't handle the ball quite enough for that. But it was they're just a good team. They're deep. They've got so many guys. Like, look at George Hill tonight coming off the bench for 18 points. He's such a pro, and Corver, and they just have all the pieces of a really deep, seasoned team that is probably the team to beat in the East. It's just that simple. I know I'm a big Philly guy, and Toronto's still the champs, and Boston's playing great ball, but I still think the East may go through Milwaukee to get to the championship.
Yeah, and this team's missing one of their main pieces, Middleton, right now, who
Yeah,
who is
yeah.
gonna still be out for probably a few weeks, I think. Brooke Lopez played fantastic in this one. 19 points, 10 boards, 5 blocks, 2 steals,
Good
seven
Lord.
seven defensive stats from Brolo. That's outstanding. I love too that he shoots it well from the line, 8 of 9 from the line. So great game from him. Bledsoe was a little underwhelming this one, just 8 points, only shot 2 of 11, 1 steal, 1 block, 5 assists, 6 rebounds. An interesting guy, DiVincenzo, 15 points, 3 steals, 4 assists. 4 rebounds, 3 threes on 5 of 9 shooting. I was kind of curious if this guy could emerge with Middleton going down, and maybe it's finally happening. I'm going to keep an eye on him and
I was
see.
shocked. I did
Yeah.
not think DiVincenzo was going to be the winner when Middleton went down. I figured they'd slide in, either Hill or Ilyasova or somebody like that, or
hmm
Connaughton. But no, it seems like he might be worth a pickup. Really, to be honest with you, I think I'm going to have to go look around for him as well, because until Middleton comes back, he's getting about 30 minutes a game.
I'm going to do the same thing, Coach. I think the moment this show ends, I might check out a couple leagues and see if he's there. And I love that he's a thief. Got 3 steals here tonight, and
Yeah,
can give you threes. Had 3 threes tonight, so that's some upside right there. So yeah, definitely
I
check
agree.
out and see if he's there. And then, Coach, other than that, you already mentioned Hill, who had a nice game and could be worth play in some deeper leagues. Wes Matthews was good earlier in the last week, but didn't have it going at all here tonight. Didn't even
I
shoot in
wouldn't
17
say.
minutes. Yeah. Any closing thoughts here on?
Shout out to Robin Lopez.
Uh huh.
He hit a three
Yeah.
just to try to chase his brother a little bit. He did hit a three. That's a guy I never thought I'd see hit a three, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But he has been shooting threes now
Well,
all of a sudden.
pretty
But
amazing.
crazy.
Pretty amazing how guys like Brooke Lopez and Mark Gasol added that 3-point shot
Yeah.
to their game. Earlier in their careers, were not great 3-point shooters, and
Well, they never even
three.
took him. There's a
Mhm.
great stat out there you got to look up. It's like Marc Gasol in a 10-game stretch took more threes than he had taken his first 8 years in the league.
Jeez. Wow.
That goes to show you how crazy things have gotten. So there
Wow.
you go. Yep.
Let's jump over to the Chicago side of this one. I'll keep this one a little short because, Coach, the theme of this night has been some ugly teams, and I think we got to put the Bulls in that category. Man, only one starter scoring in double figures. That was Levine, who had 11 points, 4 assists, and 8 rebounds. Wendell Carter and Lauri Markkanen they've been pretty underwhelming. Lauri only shooting 2 of 12 for 9 points, 8 boards. I don't know what's going on with this team.
They
Saturday,
stink. But I got to
yeah,
ask you this before you get to it, though.
uh huh,
Do you remember when you were putting my lineups in
yep.
when I was in Vegas at the Summer League?
I know what you're
Who
gonna
was
talk about.
my center that I used every day?
You're gonna say Daniel Gafford.
Bingo, you got it, man. He
And
finally got a chance to play.
yeah, and Coach, why is this? Because why all? I'm curious
Carter
because
got in foul trouble real quick.
okay. Oh yes,
And
yes, yes,
and
yes. I
so
see it.
so they finally let him in, and I've been just I love this guy. He's a
hmm
rookie, and he just crushed it for me in preseason in the summer league, and he just never ever gets in.
Yeah,
And 20 minutes, dude, 10 for 12 from the field, 21 points, 5 rebounds, and an assist, and 2 blocks, no turnovers. Looked like a pro. I mean, this kid needs to play.
yeah. 10 of 12 shooting, that is spectacular. So and then the 2 blocks is nice. We know the Bulls are going to be bad. Maybe they're 4 of 10 right now. I think it's just going to get worse for them. So maybe they can get him some more run as the season goes on,
If
and
you can
that would be
stash
nice.
Daniel Gafford on your bench, especially he's available in almost every league. If you can grab him, he's not going to impact your squad immediately, but as you just alluded to, they're so bad, they're going to start letting these younger guys play more.
Mm-hmm.
And he can put up stats. And, if you can get him in a dynasty league, especially, I think he has potential to be a guy that's going to get a lot of minutes in this league. And Wendell Carter is also a guy that can, pivot 4-5. So it's not like, there's not a spot for Gafford. Because I'll tell you what, the guy that I think stinks, and I'm sorry if you guys out there took him because they loved him, is Lauri Markkanen.
Mm.
Man, every game I just, 2 for 12 again. I just don't see it. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he is slumped.
Yeah, I had much higher expectations for Lauri. I thought at the very least he'd be a good scorer, good rebounder, but yeah, it is definitely not happening for him. All right, let's move on from the Bulls. That's too much Bulls
Thanks
talk.
for letting me get excited about that.
Hey, I like that kid, man. I hope you're right. I hope he gets more minutes. And you know what, Coach? The two guys in front of him, Lauri Markkanen and Wendell Carter, these are guys that have had some injury history. So I kind of like it when a guy has two handcuffs where like either one of those guys goes down. It could open up some big minutes for Gafford. So I like that take. All right, next game up, the San Antonio Spurs and the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks getting the victory 117-110. Gonna take a look at the San Antonio side of this game first. Coach, I think it may have been the last show where we talked about how much we disliked the Spurs for fantasy. Tonight was actually okay, though. DeRozan had 36 points, 4 assists, and 8 rebounds. He doesn't shoot any threes, but a perfect 8-8 from the line, 14-20 from the field. So that's some nice, efficient shooting. Aldridge came alive in this one, 16 points, 1 block, 2 assists, 9 rebounds on 7 of 14 shooting. The wing guard position is a mess here. It's a different guy each night. Tonight it was Forbes, 13 points, 2 rebounds, 1 steal, 3 threes on 4 of 9 shooting. DeJounte Murray has been real up and down. Tonight was down, only 4 of 11 shooting for 8 points, no defensive stats, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. Trey Lyles we don't trust, and the bench is pretty ugly as well, Coach. So any thoughts on the San Antonio Spurs?
No, I mean, we talked about it a few weeks in a row. They're just not that good. I mean, if you have DeRozan or Aldridge, they're okay, and you got to keep plugging them in there. DeRozan did have a very exceptional night tonight, but after those two guys, I would not waste a second or a roster spot on any of these other guys.
Yep. Okay, let's jump over to the Mavericks side of the game, and I got to start with Luka Doncic. Man, Coach,
ridiculous.
42-point triple-double tonight. This is just unbelievable, Coach. 42 points, 12 assists, 11 rebounds, 14 of 27 from the field, a 9 of 13 from the line, 5 threes tonight, took 13 of them. I mean, he's getting like James Harden type of usage over here. It is crazy. And you guys, if you drafted Luka Doncic, who the last time I checked, which was just a couple days ago, was like returning first round value, congratulations if you have Luka Doncic on your fantasy team. It must be a lot of fun.
Well, my dynasty, the name of my dynasty team is Luka FC, which stands for Fighting Champions. And I have Luka, so it's like, and I want you to know, I decided, because I flip around and watch a million games, and I decided that when the game tipped, I said, you know what, I'm going to sit down and watch a full game for a change. I'm not even going to flip on the commercials, because what I always do is flip on the commercials, and you're watching another game and you get caught up in it. So I watched all 42 points, 12 assists, 11 rebounds. I mean,
he's spectacular.
He is so much fun to watch.
So smart, right? Like it's real
20
clear.
years old though. 20.
Yeah. It's just unbelievable. Okay. Porzingis with a double-double, 18 points, 10 rebounds. A little disappointing not to see any defensive stats, but gave you 4 threes, and he's going to be just fine. The interesting thing in this game, I think, Coach, DeLon Wright coming off the bench, Seth Curry getting the start. he's an interesting guy. Now, didn't really have it going in this one. 7 points, 4 assists, 1 3. But if he's going to continue to start in some of those deep leagues I was talking about earlier, I think he's an interesting guy. And another guy who popped off the page tonight is Finney Smith with 22 points, a steal, a block, 3 assists, 5 rebounds. 3 threes on 8 of 10 shooting from the field. This is an outstanding game from him. Keep an eye on him. Now, he is also prone to have some underwhelming games, but
this was his career best by a mile. But he had 16 was his career high until tonight. And you know what? He's good, and he's not a bad. He's probably your third best option on this team if you have to roster a guy, because he's always going to get like 30 minutes because he's such a great defender. But I'm just telling you right now, I'm a Mavs fan, and if you have Luka or Kristaps, awesome. But don't waste your time with Dwight Powell, Seth Curry, Maxi Kleber, DeLon Wright, Tim Hardaway Jr., Jalen Brunson, Justin Jackson, JJ Barea. All those guys are going to play 15, 20 minutes and not be worth their weight. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really happy, first of all, that you gave that take, because it could just be a different guy once you get past Luka and Porzingis. It could be Powell tomorrow. That's the guy that has the 20, or
it's all over the place. Kleber or Boban. They didn't even play Boban tonight, but I mean, it just depends. It's not that they're not a good team, but not fun for us in fantasy beyond the first two guys. Although Smith deserves to be on rosters because he's going to get those minutes, and he's an athlete. So, yeah.
All right, let's jump to the next game. Man, what a busy night of NBA action. Great stuff. The next game up, I got the Celtics and the Phoenix Suns, and the Phoenix Suns have been a pleasant surprise. I think we talked about it on the last show, Coach. Monty Williams is my vote so far at this early point of the season for Coach of the Year. 7-4 record for the Suns. They've been really good. Played the Celtics great. They lost tonight, but gave the Celtics a good fight. 99-85. I'm going to jump in on the Celtics side of this game first. I'll start with Kemba Walker, who's been pretty good. 19 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 3 on 9 and 19 shooting. Actually, tonight was a little underwhelming just because we're used to seeing some big lines from him. I should mention this. I saw this earlier. I'm pulling this up. I believe Marcus Smart left this game. Will not return, sprained ankle in the fourth.
I saw him happen. I saw it happen, and it looked like it was. I mean, he wasn't putting a whole lot of weight on it, so definitely keep an eye on that because it did not look really good.
Likely going to miss some games. Usually, when a guy needs help, he's going to miss at least a few games. Now, he was having a good game, 17 points, a block, 2 steals, 4 assists, 3 threes. And, Coach, I think the interesting guy is their rookie, Edwards. Now, only played 11 minutes, but had a good game last week. So I'm going to keep an eye on that situation and see who gets the minutes if Smart's going to miss time.
Well, I think I know who it's going to be, and this is the coach's special of the night. And this is who I recommend if you need somebody to, just throw in your lineup for the next week. If Smart misses probably 3-4 games, Brad Wanamaker. Brad Wanamaker is a terrific defender. Stevens likes him a lot, and he's a good player. Tonight he grabbed 29 minutes, and that's what Smart didn't get hurt till the end of the game. So he didn't even soak up any of Smart's minutes, which he will, and he was very efficient. 4 for 9 from the field, 2 threes, 6 assists, 3 steals because he's a hell of a defender. Brad Wanamaker is the coach's special tonight. Grab him, use him a little bit, and if it doesn't work out when Smart comes back, fine. But I'm telling you, the kid is a nice ball player, and he's going to get 25 to 32, 33 minutes with Smart out.
Coach, thank you for that. I just jotted that down on my notebook, and I love as you mentioned, got 30 minutes tonight, even before Smart got hurt or with Smart playing. So, if anything, this is just going to guarantee some good minutes for him. So, I love that take. Let's see, where else were we? Jaylen Brown, 14 points, 3 assists, 9 rebounds for Jaylen Brown, 1 steal. Pretty good game for him. He's been pretty good ever since Gordon Hayward got hurt. And then let's see who else. A lot of people like. Oh, you know what? I should mention Jason Tatum. 26 points, 11 rebounds. He's just been rock solid. Just keep him locked and loaded. He's doing what he does. A lot of people love Robert Williams, Time Lord, aka Time Lord. 0 points. Did have some defensive stats here with the 2 steals and block, but just with the minutes. I don't know. And, Cantor's only getting 5 minutes right now. I'm curious if that's going to eventually ramp up as well. Coach, any closing thoughts on the Boston Celtics here?
I mean, they're a damn good team, and they play tremendous defense. I mean, look, they held Phoenix, who's been scoring a lot, to 85 points. So they're tough, man. They are good. You can count on their main guys and, really keep a close eye on Wanamaker and Carson Edwards and some of these bench guys as their role increases.
Let's jump over on the Phoenix side of this game. Devin Booker is the main man here on the Suns. 20 points, 4 assists, 2 threes on 7 of 13 shooting. He was 4 from the line. Kelly Oubre with 15 points, a steal, a block, 1 assist, 6 rebounds, 1 3 on 5 of 13 shooting. Saric only had 9 points, did have 10 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 threes, so that's kind of nice. Baines has been playing really well, but had a rough one here. Only 9. Only 9 points. I think the Celtics was a tough matchup here for Phoenix because some of these guys who've been playing really well, like Baines, looks like they struggled here tonight. Not too much to talk about on the bench. No one that I would trust off this bench. Kaminsky every once in a while has a good game, but I wouldn't trust him or really anyone else. Any thoughts on the Suns, Coach?
No, I mean, Booker and their main guys, are going to be consistent for them. But, without Rubio playing tonight, that crushed them. I mean, they had no chance. So hopefully he's back here soon for them.
All right, let's jump into the final game that we're going to have here with Coach. There's still one more game going on, the Clippers and the Thunder, but I think we're probably going to lose you because that one's going to not be done by the time we're through with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Utah Jazz. The Timberwolves getting the victory 112-102. I thought this was going to be an interesting game because the Jazz are a really good team. The Timberwolves have been playing well lately. Let's take a look at the Minnesota side first, and I guess we'll start with Jeff Teague. You got to be pretty excited that he's back if you got him on your roster, and looked nice tonight. 21 points, 11 assists, 4 rebounds. Let's hope he can stay healthy because should be a solid option at point guard for this team. 1 3 on 7 of 18 shooting from the field with 6 of 7 from the line. Karl Anthony Towns, 29 points, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 5 assists with 13 boards, 7 of 15 from downtown. That's nice from your center to take 15 threes, huh, Coach? 11 of 23 from the field from him. Robert Covington, nice to see him have a good one. 15 points with 2 steals, a block, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 threes. That's like a Bob Cove type of line right there. 5 of 10 from the field, 3 of 3 from the line. Graham got the start, but put up a goose egg, 0 points. Fouled out, actually, in 25 minutes. Layman had a really nice game in this one. And, I think he actually... Let me pull this up. I think he actually left this game. Yep. Left the game with foot soreness, did not return. So, it was an interesting... It's an interesting situation. Let's see what happens because, Graham's a little underwhelming and Layman, so I'm kind of curious who could step up here for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Jared Culver.
I like that take. I like that take.
Get the best opportunity,
Yeah, and then, not too much else to talk about on the bench. Okoji's interesting. Culver, who you mentioned, the guy who just, I'm really hoping they unleash Culver at some point this year. And
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think of the Timberwolves, coach?
Yeah, I mean, Teague and Cat are just so awesome on a regular basis, and Row Coat gets it done. After that, they're pretty thin. I'm surprised they're winning. I'm surprised they went into Utah and won. They're over performing expectations for sure. So he's done a nice job there. Good story there. Flip Saunders passed away, and then his son took over the team, and seems like he's really finding his way. He's a young coach in his late 30s and getting it done. So it's good to see. But really, I think put a circle around Culver, especially with the Layman injury tonight, because he was a high pick for them. I think sixth overall, and I think they're going to give him an opportunity. He is a talented kid and just needs to get the minutes.
All right, let's look over on the Utah Jazz side of this game. I'll start with Rudy Gobert. Some nice centers having some big double doubles here tonight, and Rudy Gobert stepping up as well. 16 points, 14 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block on 5 of 8 shooting, 6 of 7 from the line. Mike Conley, after that rough start, coach, he's really been coming around. 15
Yeah.
points with 6 assists, 6 rebounds. Kind of surprised we didn't get any steals from him. 1 3 on 6 of 15. On 6 of 15 shooting from the field, 2 of 3 from the line. Donovan Mitchell with 17 points, 2 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 threes. 5 of 23 shooting from the field. That's not great, but
No.
he's been okay this year though. So of course, hang tight with him. Bogdanovich with 18 points, 2 assists, 6 rebounds, 3 threes on 7 of 17
Yeah.
shooting. It's pretty good.
I'm a big Bogdanovich
Yeah,
fan. I like
he
him.
fits in really well with this team, doesn't he? It's like
Yeah.
he's just a great guy to have on the wing there. Joe Ingles. It's nice to see Ingles and Bogdanovich have good games in the same night. 12 points for him, 5 assists with 8 rebounds, 3 threes on 4 of 12 shooting. Even though he's coming off of the bench, had 34 minutes, so it's a good game from him. Other than that, not really too much else here. What do you think of the Jazz?
Yeah, I mean they're not a real deep team. If you have their main guys, they get a lot of minutes. Conley, Mitchell, Bogdanovich, those guys are all studs, and O'Neal and Ingles have been getting big minutes too. So certainly serviceable guys. It's just they're never going to light up the box score. I mean their score games are usually low scoring. They're the 29th pace team, and they're the third best defensive team. So you certainly don't want to count on a couple of these guys to be your main guys, but definitely a few of them can help out and fill out your roster, no doubt.
Nice. Coach, that about does it, man. A big night of NBA fantasy action. Where can listeners find you at? Anything you're working on? Anything you want to mention here?
Just tune in every day. We're 7 days a week. NBA DFS Today. You can search us everywhere podcasts are found. Just look up DFS Today or NBA DFS Today, and we're going to come up. We have a great team. We added a couple more guys to the mix to make sure we got everything covered, and we're fresh all 7 days a week. So that's great. So look us up there. And I'm on Twitter at Joe Sarvadi, JoeSarvadi. And make sure to go to hoop-ball.com every day and go to the forum, click on the DFS thread. That's the daily fantasy sports games that we have our 7 day a week show on. And you can follow on there updates constantly with player news, injury, scratches, all that kind of stuff. So good stuff, man.
Awesome. Coach, again, what a pleasure it was to talk to you, man. Another great night. Thank you so much. And thank you, listeners. You guys, I will be right back with the results from that Oklahoma City Thunder LA Clipper game. Okay, you guys, I'm back for the final game of the evening. The Clippers taking on the Thunder. Let's check into this one. Let's see how it went down. This one was a very close game, a low-scoring game. The Clippers edging out the Thunder to win 90-88. Let's take a look at the box score. Let's check over on the Thunder side of this game. I'm going to start with Chris Paul, 22 points with 4 steals, 4 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 threes on 5 of 10 shooting. Was a 10 of 11 from the line. And, after a somewhat slow start, Chris Paul has definitely started to come around. Gallinari had a good game here, 14 points with 2 assists, 5 boards, 2 threes. Didn't shoot too great, was only 3 of 13 from the field, but a perfect 6 of 6 from the line. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander with 11 points. And, this one's a little disappointing because 1 steal, 0 assists, and 1 rebound. It's kind of crazy to think that he got 0 assists in 31 minutes of action. Shot 4 of 10 from the field, 2 of 2 from the line. Steven Adams has been really disappointing, I think, this season, dealing with some injuries earlier in the year, and hasn't really gotten going yet. 9 points, did have 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and hopefully he can start rolling here soon. Dennis Schroeder is a guy who could be viable off the bench, even though he's not starting, can have some nice lines and is still getting some nice minutes even though he's coming off the bench. Played 29 minutes tonight, had 12 points, 1 block, 2 assists, 4 rebounds on 6 of 17 shooting. Nerlens Noel, even though the scoring wasn't there, was only 1 of 2 in 21 minutes. I love what he did everywhere else with 3 blocks, 2 steals, 3 assists, 8 boards, and he was 5 of 6 from the line. So other than that, not really much that you want to play as far as fantasy goes. Let's check over on the Clippers side. Paul George was coming into this game red hot. It was just the 2 games prior to this, he was just on fire. I was actually at the Clipper game on Saturday night against the Hawks, and he was just shooting the lights out from downtown and from outside. So he's been really good. Now tonight, only scored 18 points on 7 of 14 shooting. Also had 7 turnovers, which is a little rough. 4 assists, 7 boards, 3 threes. But he's going to be just fine. He looks locked and loaded for this season. He looks really good. 9 points for Beverly, 3 steals, 4 rebounds, 3 threes on 3 of 7 shooting. Nice to see him back. Zubac actually had a pretty good game in just 20 minutes. He had 12 points and 10 rebounds. And let's see who else. Off the bench, man, Montrezl Harrell, 28 points, a block, a steal, 5 assists, 12 boards, 13 of 20 from the field, 2 of 4 from the line. He was the best Clipper tonight, and he is a solid fantasy option. Lou Williams has been really good tonight. Didn't really have it going. Only 5 of 12 from the field for 11 points, 9 assists. So Kawhi Leonard missing, I believe, his 3rd game in a row. This is a little concerning. It's clear he's dealing with more than just load management. Could be an injury, likely that knee. So fingers crossed that, from what we're hearing, it's nothing major and it's minor. So we hope to he gets back in the lineup soon. Can't wait to see what he looks like next to Paul George. That's going to be a lot of fun. All right, you guys, that's it for the night. It was a really fun 9-game slate. Thanks again to Coach for joining me earlier. Always have a great time talking to Coach. Thank you guys so much for listening and supporting the show. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Adrian Benjamins. Would love to hear from you. And thank you guys again, and I'll see you next week.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.